Welcome to Unity. If I didn't know I was one with all of you, I'd be really nervous about that. I made a lot of notes, and the more notes I made, the more confused I got. So I just want to talk to you a little bit today, first of all, about what I'm grateful for. It is Thanksgiving weekend. You've probably heard a lot about gratitude already, and you may be kind of tired of it, but I hope not. Because gratitude is one of the most powerful forces that we have to help us to awaken, to help us to become clean and pure in our enjoyment of life. Many of us have heard about karma, right? Karma is a pretty common concept these days. Action comes back to haunt us, so to speak. Now, of course, good karma comes back too, haunts us with good things. But karma is one of our challenges. We realize we have to burn off some karma at times. You can actually burn off some of that just with gratitude. To be grateful is a very powerful spiritual tool. And that's true because at its essence, gratitude is the appreciation for being alive. The appreciation for the beauty that exists at every level of our life. We may not always notice the beauty. And that's the issue that we have. But when we start having gratitude, it helps. We begin to see more beauty when we're grateful. It's probably impossible to be angry and also, all of the negatives, what we call negative emotions, discouraged, bored, frustrated. All of these things disappear in the light of gratitude. And so I want to just say a couple of things that I'm grateful today. Partly I'm grateful for all of you. See all you beautiful people out here in the seats, and I hope that our time together will be valuable. I'm grateful for this beautiful chapel or sanctuary or whatever it is we call it. It's a really beautiful space, and it's had a lot of beautiful things happen. I can see some trees out there. I'm lucky that way. You have to speak sometimes so you can see the trees out that big window again. Very beautiful to have that little bit of nature to touch. So the moment, I'm grateful for this moment, for hearing that. But I want to talk about a moment, if you will, many years ago. Back about my freshman year in college, I decided I didn't believe my religion anymore. It wasn't working for me. I kind of thought if I could look down on the world and choose whatever philosophy or belief would most suit me, that I would most trust and believe in, would this religion be it? And I had to say, no, that wasn't it. And so I let go of that without having anything else to go to. And for a few years, I just floated spiritually. I felt there was something, and I felt committed to that something. There was something more. There was something beautiful. There was something transcendent, if you will. And then in 1969, in November, on Thanksgiving weekend, I went to that famous spiritual mecca, Las Vegas, Nevada. And went, absolutely. And I learned how to meditate. I started practicing transcendental meditation. Not on that, now come on. It was transcendental meditation. I could have actually waited just a little over a month, and the person would have come to Utah, where I was living and going to school, and I could have done it there. But once I had the bug, I couldn't wait. I had to just go down there. So I went down and camped in a little park nearby that camped out there and went in and had this incredible experience of peace and transcendence. Just felt like I was softening and melting into this beautiful expansion of life. It was amazing. And for, I don't know, probably more than 20 years, I meditated twice a day. And frankly, I should be really pretty good by now, shouldn't I? But it saved my life. I was ill, or I got ill a while later. Had some serious issues. I had problems in my marriage. I had problems at work. I had problems. And I had depression. Now, the depression came in sometime when I was a kid, and it didn't last too long. I think it was maybe pretty serious for 50 or 55 years, something like that. Maybe 60. Just a little something to deal with. So to tell you the truth, if I hadn't started meditating, I don't believe I would be here today. And so I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful for the years that I meditated an hour and a half in the morning and an hour and a half in the evening. Meditation and yoga and breathing. The program was about an hour and a half long. Didn't do it that long every day, but I at least meditated. And most days I did the program. And it changed my life. It was a tremendous and beautiful gift. But we didn't know much. I think they probably taught us all the same things that we're hearing today. All the same things that Unity's been teaching, and a lot of things that that are very deep and beautiful. And we heard them, and we thought we understood them. And I suppose at some level we did. But as a group, we just didn't get it very well. And one of our most prized ideas or concepts was the concept of enlightenment. Now, you always talk, about using the mind to visualize and believe in something. You don't visualize and believe in enlightenment because it's beyond anything you've experienced. Not knowing what it was, of course, made it challenging to hold that as your desire. But for many, many, many years, that was my desire. To wake up to enlightenment. Well, a few years ago, 2007, I ran into the Oneness Blessing. And some of you know that I've been holding Oneness Blessing meetings since 2008. I went in January to India to become a blessing giver. That was, in a sense, my new way of connecting very innocently and easily. And because of the changes in the consciousness over the years, it was possible to move forward instead of, 3 hours a day, 7 days a week. I could receive blessings once a week and still grow and watch people grow as quickly as I had those years before. Something has been changing in all those years. In the Oneness Blessing, we talk about awakening. We talk about the state of what we might have called in the old days enlightenment as being awakened. And to be awakened is to be alive to your full spirituality. We say that we are not physical beings or human beings having a spiritual experience. We're spiritual beings having a human experience. To be awake, to be in a state of awakeness, is to know that as your primary reality. That's the truth. That's what is. And I guess the really big reason that I'm excited and grateful today is that the world is waking up. The age of enlightenment, as we called it back in those old days, is upon us. It is starting now. 2012? 2012 is something. It's a shift in consciousness. It started years ago. It intensified in 2011. And now, in the end of 2012, it is coming to fruition. People are waking up. So what is this awakened state? That's a challenge. It's an interesting question. And the first thing is you can't know it till you got it. Okay? It's not something that can be described in words. You just simply can't. It's beyond that being able to touch or explain. You just cannot explain the taste of strawberries to someone who's never eaten a piece of fruit. You know, you just can't explain it. And this goes way beyond strawberries. Okay? This is even beyond strawberry ice cream. That excites me. If it's beyond strawberry ice cream, I'm all for it. What we're seeing in the Oneness Blessing movement, whose goal has been to awaken people. That's the whole point of it, is to awaken people. And it wanted to awaken a whole lot of people by, what was it? I think it was by the end of 2012, that was it. They wanted 70,000 people to be awake. They wanted to have that power, and they wanted to awaken about 70,000 people worldwide. Why 70,000? Because that would be enough to powerfully impact the whole 7 billion people on the planet, to help shift into a state where awakened states became more and more common, where we began to move into them quickly, ushering in an era of peace. That doesn't sound like too much, right? Just a little thing. Well, supposedly, and they do this intuitively, they have people who spend their whole lives in meditation, basically, and they are checking every month to see how many people are in that awakened state. And they hit about 70,000 back, I believe, in August, toward the end of August or something, beginning into September, somewhere in there. At their last count on the 21st of November, they intuited that there were 161,000 people, give or take a few, who were awakened. Now that sounds all well and good. You know, wow, we're ahead of schedule. Yay! But what excites me is I know some of these people. I've met them, and I've listened to them talk about their experience. And guess what? They ain't that special. They're just like you and I. Some of them have been on spiritual paths for a long time, and some of them just started. Some of them have been living brilliant, beautiful lives, and some of them have been kind of a mess. And some of them have been just plain old garden variety average. And yet, grace is touching their lives. I'm going to try and talk about what it is to be awakened. It's a little like the consciousness that comes through us is the same one consciousness, right? Unity. We talk about that, we sing about that every week. There's a unity to life, to everything. And that unity is that one consciousness that informs and moves and is everything. It's unity, it's one, which means there ain't two, it's one. We're all here so that one can enjoy itself. Because I guess it gets lonely being one, I don't know. So I said, oh, here's a good idea, let's all forget we're one for a while and see how that feels. It wasn't so good, just if you hadn't noticed. And we're going to then rediscover that we are one. And that'll be good. So the oneness, the unity that we are, instead of necking down through this little nozzle of me versus you, and the stage that I might step off of if I'm not careful. All of this separation comes through the me. We like to call it sometimes the ego. And the ego has a good function. The ego is valuable because without an ego of some kind, the body would just ignore, things like, oh, the building's on fire. Maybe I should get out. That's an ego function, okay? This body wants to get out of the fire. Let's move. But a lot of other functions can happen without the necking down. And this is this awareness that comes through full is the awakened state. I even hate to use the word state, because state implies something that's transitory. And we've all probably in here had various forms of awakened states. We've experienced some highs, we've experienced some intuition, some deep vision into the nature of things. We've had our moments. But this being awakened, is when you are awake to the true nature of yourself. And that is experienced and felt throughout all of your living. And it changes life. There's no Zen axiom. You've probably heard it. Before enlightenment, chop wood and carry water. After enlightenment, chop wood and carry water. Yes, I knew you'd heard it. But these are practical shifts into awakening. It's possible, see, once you hit awakening, that's not the end of the story. It's not over. That's the beginning. Now you can live a life of freedom and joy. Now you can grow in your relationship to God and to the awareness of all of the subtlety and beauty of life around you. Now you have the freedom to really love life and really, really live it. This is a beautiful thing. I'm just saying. In about a year and a half before I became a transcendental meditator, I can't tell them apart anymore. Back in 1969, the Beatles went to India and spent time with Maharishi, who was teaching that. And they had some mixed experiences that they described, but basically it affected them very powerfully. It was one of the most creative periods. In a couple of months they were there, they created all kinds of music. 18 songs that were on the White Album, as one example. They were still putting out songs from that period when they broke up. There was music that came out of that period that was coming out finally as individual artists. And in early 1971, one of these ex-Beatles sat down and just started riffing on an idea. It came out of that period. It came out of things that his wife had written and said. It came out of his own sort of revolutionary attitude toward the way things were. In one day, John Lennon sat down and wrote one chapter, just one time through.
Can always heaven. It's easy if you try. No hell below us, above us on the sky. Imagine all the people living for today.
How many times have we heard that song? And how many times has it sounded like someday far away, maybe this can begin again? It's beginning now.
Living for today.
Even the siren happens in bliss. As we wake up, as even we begin to wake up, as we get close. In other forms of higher states of consciousness, there are up to something like 200 million, according to these intuitives, that are living in much expanded and higher states of consciousness, just not yet to the awakened state. One woman woke up at her keyboard at work. Suddenly noticed that it was her hands doing the work. She was just watching. Some of us have probably had that experience, but this one didn't go away. It was very beautiful. One woman had the image of her sort of ego self being unzipped, it's like her body or something, just being unzipped and falling to the ground. And then this beautiful being, this woman of great, glorious beauty, stepping into her body, and her thought was, she ain't gonna fit. But she did, into that little tiny body. One person woke up and it took her 2 days to realize that, oh yeah, I really am awake. They told her, but she didn't, she was annoyed because she didn't think it was true. She was already living in some high states of consciousness. And you see, it's so natural. To be awake is to be your true self. To be awake is to be relaxed and at ease, because you are home. This is home. Wherever we are at this moment is exactly where we need to be. And that's kind of beautiful. I thought I was going to have quite a bit of time. I'm going to bring it even a little closer to home. I kind of hate to do this, but I just want you to know this is really happening. Because I had a near call, close call with this myself. I was in Fort Worth, Texas, and I was going to what we call Oneness Meditations, which are very powerful transfers of energy, which help us to drop the mind, just become still, and just be alert and awake in the moment, to connect to who we are. It's a very powerful transfer of energy. And I've done a couple of them, and I was waiting for another one, and I lay down, and as I was lying there, I experienced as though a black curtain were being pulled back, kind of right in my back, kind of behind me. And what came through that was the light of consciousness. It was pure awareness. There was no I involved. When I stood up and walked back to my seat, it wasn't that I saw other people out there as me. There was no me for those other people to be. There was just us in oneness. I felt no more interest in whether I had a good seat than whether anyone else did. There was a real, you've heard about detachment. There was enormous detachment because there was no I going, me, 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 me. It lasted a few hours. It was what we would call an awakened state, an experience, a preview, a glimpse of awakening. And I'm very grateful for it. Come on back at any time. Stay a while. Stay a few lifetimes, forever. I don't care. It's here. If a schmuck like me can get it, or start to get it, or be close to getting it, who knows? I have this image, though, you know, how we all go, everybody but me. I can see my man be sitting on the sidelines, hearing about all your stories about how you woke up. Going, I'm really glad for you. I'm very happy for you. It's very beautiful. Darn! Right? But that's what we do. That's what the me does. I think I'd like to do a meditation now, and then if we might take a minute, if we have just a little bit of time, to talk about things we can do. Maybe that'll be another day. To talk about some things we can do to get in the way of this grace. Because awakening is grace. Awakening is not something we earn. It's not something we visualize or think about and make happen. It's something that we allow to happen. We put ourselves in the place where grace can most easily access us, where we say yes, at least to the best of our ability. And then I'll see what happens. So what I'd like to do now, we have quite a few oneness blessing givers here in the group today. And I'd like to ask you now to give what we call an intention blessing. And if you don't want to receive this, you can make a little umbrella over yourself or something, I don't know. But it's a very beautiful gift of grace, of the divine. And so while we begin to meditate, I'm going to ask all the blessing givers to begin now to give a oneness blessing. And let's just take a moment to sit in this space, to be present in this body. And to feel gratitude for being here, for being alive, for being alive now. letting ourselves relax into silence. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. This is a traditional ending for meditation from the East. The words are Sanskrit, and they mean peace, peace, peace. So take your time. And slowly begin moving toward the present in the room, maybe more. Love silence. If we had time, we could spend a lot more time in it. I want to bring up a couple of things related. One of them is that we are doing oneness meditations now after church in the office to my right or left. You can just go in and whoever's in there to give blessings. What did I say? Oneness meditations? Oh, I wish. Oneness blessings. Diksha, we call it. You can go in, there'll be from 2, 3, whatever number of people who give the blessing in there. And you just can go in and music will be playing and you can get a blessing, get a blessing, get a blessing. It's a very beautiful way to help bring more experience into the knowledge and the wisdom that we've been gathering, many of us, for many, many years. Help deepen our connection. On the 21st of December, the Mayan calendar ends. The last day is the 21st of December. We're kind of excited about it. Who knows what's going to happen next? I guess the world's going to blow up, and if you're not, it's not Keanu Reeves. But anyway, some Hollywood stars make it through, through, I understand, according to the movie. But basically, it's a beautiful time of shift, of transition. So on the 21st, we're going to have an open house here. We'll be having Oneness Blessing, Oneness Meditations. The opportunity to listen, all of this technology, or being able to get someone live here, but you'll be able to listen to people who have the experience of becoming awake. And it's a very powerful thing. So there'll be a lot of very beautiful things happening here that day, and we're going to have a kind of a party somewhere else. Just check with us on Saturday, the 22nd. So, more about that later. Let us know if you want to get more information. I really appreciate you all being here today. And Jeannie's going to start throwing things if I don't sit down. No, she's not. She says she's not. She knows enough to cut me some slack. There were so many things I wanted to say and share. So maybe you'll have me back sometime. I don't know. But it is very beautiful. Thank you all for